And how did your wife push you out? Because primarily I know most of the wives, quote unquote, they always want that aspect of safety. How
Yeah,
did your wife ended up pushing you out of
She told me
employment?
you have to do business.
Uh-huh.
You're good at it.
Yeah. How are you surviving?
She was really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever she'll get, she'll give me the bus fare.
Mm-hmm.
And I go.
Ulikuwa umewekwa.
Because the best empires, I've read it. They start from nothing.
Mm. It was actually nothing. From the
Nothing.
conversation we had with Chandari's
Exactly.
granddaughter, it was like they started from nothing. Good evening and welcome to the Late Night Business. My name is Ian Dennis, and as always, we have a very interesting show lined up for you tonight because I have a very interesting guest. Well, literally, I'll tell you a story of how exactly we met in a few. But before I get to introduce my guest, I want to remind you that you're here at the Capital Club, the place you need to be as an entrepreneur. Because the interesting thing about the Capital Club is that once you remember, you have access to a wide array of amenities, including the meeting room where we're actually in right now. There's actually halls and actually meeting, hallways. You can actually do events. There's the restaurant, there's the gym, there's the spa. You literally can do your meetings and actually entertain yourself here. Also want to remind you that two of my books, one Food for Thought and the other Business Conquest, are actually out at the Textbook Center. So the gentleman I'm about to have a conversation with is like, the other day I was trying to look for a place where I can do an alignment for my car, and then I bumped into him. His name is actually Sam Muindi. I didn't know even Muindi is actually a name. And we just got to kick it off. It's a very, very interesting story that I can't wait for you guys to just share in. So Sam, welcome so much to the show. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Ian.
Yeah. Before we start this conversation, I have a quote that I'd like you to maybe we can start a conversation with. So the quote goes, patience is a cornerstone for building a lasting business. So building a sustainable business requires patience as various components come together gradually over time. You've been in business for like 2 decades. Talk to us about patience.
Patience is a virtue, I can say that. It's true, where you need patience when you're doing anything. So we don't want just to start something and then you think it's a go. No, it takes time to build, it takes trust so that it can be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Without patience, you're not going anywhere.
Have you built that spirit of patience? Because in a world whereby I think in a microwave generation, whereby I want to do things and see the results right now. I want to hit it and get the result.
Yeah.
How have you managed, like doing something over 2 decades, how have you managed to just have that particular, strength to do it? Because patience also requires strength.
Sure. Once you realize that you're in the service industry, the results comes out of patience. You receive anything that comes to your way, you have to prove that given time, you're going to do the best. And that is, it requires a lot of patience. Mm-hmm. It's not like you're selling products only. Service means you need patience, you need to deliver on the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things, when you're just having a conversation earlier on before this show, you've given us a very interesting statistics. And I think your grandfather is one of the oldest, if not the oldest person in this country. The show that I did earlier on, I was with, Ayushi's Chandaria's granddaughter. And the grandfather is like 98. You told me your grandfather is 115. We can start on that. How's your dad, how's your grandfather managed to be, to keep young all these years?
It's natural. I think life is just a gift. Mm-hmm. That is what you can say. Mm-hmm. He's managed to be there because I think God has given him that gift of being alive. Mm-hmm. And we're happy that we see him even the other day. Mm-hmm. He got from this King George, one of the
King
best
Charles.
awards.
Charles.
No, actually.
It's George or Charles?
They were honoring King George. Yeah? Uh-huh. King George. Yeah. But King Charles is the one I think he gave all the oldest veterans, war veterans. And he was among the veterans that were given the order of the day.
You told me he participated in World War II.
Yeah, he was in the Second World War.
Wow.
In Egypt.
and you showed even pictures of, his pictures to us. So like he still can move, still can talk. What are some of the lessons from really just seeing your grandfather still alive at 115? What are some of the lessons you can pick from him?
We are blessed because most of the time when we go Shags, I normally interview him and the answer is always the same. He knows, he remembers all the details in Egypt, in Morocco, in Tunisia where they won the war. Mm-hmm. His mind is still clear as if he's just 40.
What is the secret behind this? What has it done? Because we're in a world whereby our life expectancy is so low that we remain puzzled. Like someone can live beyond 100. Someone can use that 115 and still going on quite strong. What are maybe some of the intrigues you've learned from him?
He lives his life. I think life is just a gift. You can live the best way and still don't make it in 20s. Can still live the best way, you make it in 70s. He's been gifted by life. I think the way just God, Jehovah has given him life expectancy to be high. I think it's a gift. It's a gift. The Bible says our life is like a mist.
True.
So if you live 115, it comes and it goes. Sometimes it comes early and it goes early. It's a gift.
Interesting. So you have like your history and heritage from early participating in the World War II, which is very, very interesting.
Sure.
So growing up, what's it called? What are some of the aspirations you had growing up? Did you ever imagine that one day you would be an entrepreneur? What are some of the influences of you growing up? What did you want to be?
Not at all. Actually, my dad was so much technical. He was a masonry, and all of us, he actually...
Masonry in short, I'll call Mjengo.
Yeah, Mjengo. We did our MJ. I started working MJ. I was on class 7. I used to go to Mjengo, and I think that is where I got the energy to be doing things. When most of our classmates or my age mates would go for holidays and do their things, I used to work with my dad. And I had the passion of working so hard. I remember when I was in class 8 still, on my holidays, I would work hard. But my first business, I made it. There was one person who came. He was my dad's classmate. So he was coming from America and he was making a hotel. And I asked my dad, can he see he can supply his home? He was making these lodgings shags. So I asked him, could we supply him beds and the mattresses? And he went and asked, and for sure, he was given, but he didn't know how to do. I pushed for that. And that time...
And how old were you at that point?
I was in, I think, 14.
So at 14 you looked at, there's an opportunity here, and let's go for it.
I did that. Fortunately, I went to a carpenter. He agreed to supply the things without payment. I got some money from my dad. We bought mattresses. And fortunately, that time, I think the bed was, we made 15,000 shillings.
That was in the 70s or 80s?
That was in 85, 86. Yeah.
That was a lot of money.
That was a lot of money.
And you were at 14?
I was 14.
Yeah, because I think...
That was my first business I did.
Did that spill, share the profits?
No.
It
disappointingly, no.
It went to your trust fund. So at 14 you made 15,000 in the 80s, which probably it should be hundreds of thousands from today's particular currency.
So after paying everything, I think he remained like 7,500. That was still a lot of money.
And from doing that, probably you at 14, maybe you didn't have, you created this opportunity at 14. What was going on through your mind at that particular point in time? Because you should have been ahead of your time then, because at 14 you should just be thinking about school and play.
But you see now, my dad was just on the masonry and was working. I didn't think about anything where I could do business, no. I always wanted to be technical, to work with my own hands. That is what my dad, all of us did the technical classes. My dad never took us to university. He told us, we want you to work with your own hands. That is what will pay. And of course, we followed that. And all of us, proudly, we all work with our hands.
That's very interesting. It's like the culture was that all of you guys need to work with your own hands.
Yeah, Kenya Polytechnic. That was the thing.
Why did Dad push for this particular mantra? Because primarily, I think in the 80s, I believe guys were pushing for go to university, go get an office job. Dad was here pushing that you go do technical jobs. Why was that Dad was pushing for that as compared to the narrative? Go to school, some upata kazi ofisi.
My dad, I think, was ahead of time. Sometimes because of, I think, a biblical background that we had. He knew technical work is everything. He always gave us the example of Jesus. that he was a masonry. He was a carpenter.
Carpenter, yeah.
And there was a reason for that.
Mhm.
He told me many of the things that you see, it's technical. And that time, he was ahead of time because he would tell us, even in America, labor work pays a lot. If you go to America, even UK today, the plumbers, they're very expensive. Very expensive. They are paid in hours. He comes to your home and blocks your sewage. You pay him a lot of money. But you see now, office work sometimes, you lose your job, what do you go? It's depression.
So that was the thinking about with Dad, in the sense that you'll always have a job, you'll always have opportunities.
He cared for our minds.
Yeah.
Actually, most of the time, those when you lose your job and you're working in the office, what happens? You're just stranded. But working with your own hands, people look for you.
Yeah.
Actually, the Bible says those who work with their hands, they will sit down with the kings.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And what was Mom up to? So you said Dad was a masonry. What was Mom doing?
She was a house manager, I can say, always.
And what are some of the lessons you learned from both of them? What are some of the lessons you learned from Mom and also Dad? Because I always know that there's a way that your parents have an influence towards the path that you choose to do and who you become. What are some of the lessons that when you look back in retrospect that you can actually see that you learned from both Mom and Dad?
They were too honest. And that's what I learned from my dad and my mom. My mom passed some years back.
My condolences.
I think 2008.
Yeah.
But she was so honest and very, very generous. So I've always learned to give out. That's my...
That's Mom.
That's my mom.
And from Dad, what are some of the lessons you can say that when you look back in retrospect?
He works hard. Even now, he works.
Oh, he told me right now he's in his 80s.
He's in his 80s. But if I have a leakage on my roof, I'll call him.
Oh, he still does?
Yeah, he's good. He's good at his work.
At 80s, he still does.
The problem that he's having is his back. Because he fell some time back. And the back has problems. But when I want anything to be done in my home, he's the only person I can call.
At 80, he can still fix roofs, he can still do the
He's an engineer still in his mind,
Interesting. And so once you finished high school, you mentioned you went to technical college. What's it called? What did you go to study? How was your experience? And then how did you literally manage to move from there?
I did something very funny. I went to Rift Valley Technical. But what I did, I never practiced. And that's the funny of education sometimes. I did ceramics.
What's ceramics?
Ceramics is...
just those ceramic tiles.
Yeah. Before they were here, cups.
The ceramic
the cups is ceramics.
Oh yes, I remember going to Form 1 being asked for ceramic plates or whatever.
Those are the things. My teacher was a Japanese and one was an Egyptian.
So, in Rift Valley College? Technical? There's a Japanese and an Egyptian. All right, that's very interesting.
Funny enough, I did that, but I never practiced it.
So you're being taught how to create ceramic items?
It's art. Actually, it's art. You could create even... the monuments that you see.
Oh yes,
it's
ceramic.
It's ceramic.
So sculpting and all that stuff.
So I loved art, but I never practiced it.
And was it influenced because Dad wanted you to become technical, or a gift you had and you identified quite early?
I could say it's something that came up that I think someone advised me, no one has done ceramics in Kenya. Why don't you go for it? And I thought this is good, but I think I would have done masonry. That would be better for me.
But life always has its own way.
Yeah.
So after having done ceramics, because it was primarily, maybe then it was a big technology coming up, how did now your career shape from there? What were your aspirations in doing it, and what ended up becoming of that?
Yeah, I applied some jobs, went several companies still. I remember one company was called Ceramic something, which was on Mombasa Road. They never gave me that chance, though they had a company. So I think something happened. I had a friend who was working with a printing company. And since I was given that chance, I was fortunate to enter into that company, paper converters.
It's still there?
It's still there.
It's
still there. They were doing computer stationaries. Fortunately, when I got in, because of my background of working so hard with my dad, just 1 year later, they took me to Kenya Poly. For 3 years, they sponsored me to that. I finished my college. I became an operator there, became a supervisor. Within 3 years, I was there.
Mhm.
And I worked for them for 15 years.
15 years.
15 years.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It was a special time because I got a lot of experience. Because in printing company, you never sit down.
Yeah.
You're running
Yeah, you're always up and down.
long machines.
Yeah.
So I never sat down. I was a different kind of an worker because working in such a company and being one of the person who's been given even something at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's not easy. The industry, it's not easy.
And the generation you're from, primarily you guys used to work for decades and decades and then expect the golden handshake at the end of it. How was it? Like, I just want to understand, because we are from a generation whereby primarily the maximum you can be in a place is like 5 years, so you don't stay for longer. We had to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
You're from a generation whereby you guys are patient.
Yeah.
As you were talking about earlier, you can work for a place for decades until you retire. Was it your plan to stay for that long? How exactly was that experience, being in one place for like 15 years?
I always thank my wife. She
Yeah.
pushed me out of that.
Uh-huh.
I remember, because I was getting so tired, working so hard. I had not gone for my leave for almost 3 years that time, I remember.
3
So,
years without
3
going for
years
leave?
without- Yeah. It's always that when you're working for such companies, they can push you to the limit. Yeah? And then one day she told me, you're not going back there to that company.
Oh, so it was your wife who pushed you
Yeah.
out?
I said,
Why? Why was that? Because I'm like, you have a salary at the end of the month.
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't enough. Actually, when every month I'll just start like this, it was zero again.
How much were you being paid back then?
It's around 30.
Oh, back then. The current 30,000 was a lot of money back then.
Yeah, but it wasn't enough still,
Uh-huh.
because you have a small kid, you're paying rent, and it wasn't enough.
And how? Because that's in the 90s.
Yeah, that is late to 2007. Yeah, it was still not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
I started working in 94.
94.
94.
Oh, that's a long
So
time.
I left.
Yeah.
I think 2000 and 2008. Yeah, that's when I left.
And how did your wife push you out? Because primarily I know most of the wives, quote unquote, they always want that aspect of safety. How did your wife ended up pushing you out of
She
employment?
told me you have to do business. You're good at it.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe it. Until one day, that when I went for leave, the next day I was going to work. And it was the toughest day of my life.
So how did you end up? So you had worked for 15 years. Had you planned on your transition? Were you doing things towards your transition?
Nothing.
How was it?
Nothing.
And then, okay, and now how did you transition? You had not planned for it. So wife just pushed you out of it?
Yeah, my younger brother, who is technically one of the best guys who does sound audio for cars. He had a small business that time. We had started something with him also. No, he was very good in technical.
Your small brother?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's our youngest.
Yeah.
So we decided, can we do this together? I said, okay. And then I was fortunate by having the club Tidies, the owner there, Mr. Ken, a very good man, extremely good man.
Tidies was where? Is it in Westlands or
No,
Nairobi West?
near Timol.
Timol,
So he gave us a chance. I went to his office and explained to him, and he bought a container for us. He brought there, and I shaped it up to a small business.
Yeah.
We started sound without anything.
Also,
without anything.
The owner of Tidies just chose, like you guys told this the idea you have and then decided to invest in it.
He gave us.
Yeah.
He's actually, I always thank him. He's one of the best people in my life that changed my life.
Yeah.
So once he gave me that chance, I shaped the container to a place that I can work. Made some display boxes there, but the display had nothing. I'm telling you, we started with zero, nothing. Me, my wife, and my younger brother Steve. And so what we'll do, a customer will come, bring his car. So when Steve is opening, and we have the boxes there, which really do you want, this one? By the time he's opening, I'm in town.
Yeah.
Get it from town. There's a a distributor who was called Milky, a very good Somali guy, very, very good.
Yeah.
He lifted me up.
Uh-huh.
By the time he's opening,
Yeah.
I'm back. They're doing the wiring. I help him now. We finish the car. We are paid. We go back. We get another radio. Like that.
Oh, so you literally started with zero capital. Just like the client pays for this, you guys go pick it, fix it, make your money, and then try to build from it.
Zero.
And how risky was it at that particular point in time? You had quit your comfortable job, got into business, had no capital for it. Was it called? Fortunate enough that one of the owners of the other landlords helped through it. How was it? What was your thinking process through it? Were you regretting it? What exactly was it?
For the first 6 months, we made nothing.
How are you surviving?
I don't know. Just
because always perplexing how entrepreneurs survive. Yeah.
I don't know. We can't. But people are just the small profit that we got. Maybe for a radio, we get 1,000. We do something, we get fare, and that's how we grew.
And at that point, was your wife working? Was your brother working? Because you had already quit.
My wife was working. She's an interior designer, and she was really helpful. Whatever she'll get, she'll give me the bus fare, and I go. Yeah, and that's how we saved. We had a small VW Volkswagen. She'll fuel it, and I'll go with it.
Ulikuwa umewekwa.
For the last 6 months, yeah.
All right, and before we go to, on a break from for the past part of the show, what did you learn from that season of your life whereby you're starting a business from nothing, with zero, no job, being prone to it, especially for women, we never like to, being without money. How was it for you? Maybe you can share a word of encouragement to any person watching this.
The thing is, if you have a wife or a husband that you can support when you start business, the best empires, I've read it, they start from nothing. If you save, you have 100 million and you want to start business, most of the time it will fail. But if you start from scratch because you know the pain, and it grows because of a trustworthy, it is worth it. All this, you can speak about Chandarias, ask them how they started it.
It was actually nothing. From the conversation we had with Chandaria's granddaughter, it was like they started from nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No business starts from something, from nothing. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the Apple guys.
Wow. So on that particular note, you're going to end part one of this show, probably with nothing. So that next week we can come for more things, or so rather we can build this particular story, how Shiznit Entertainment, which is actually one of the biggest, the repair cars that do a lot of entertainment. We just want to find out how this journey went to, or morphed out of it. My name is Ian Dennis. This has been The Late Night. Until next week, I'll see you right here on